It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, welcome back to the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Do you like carpool lanes, those HOV lanes, or do you not? Where I live in Southern Nevada, they're thinking about getting rid of them, where they actually may be making the traffic worse because you have this lane that the majority of cars can't use. So now you go from a 4-lane highway down to a 3-lane highway. But the HOV means high occupancy vehicle. Okay, now my vehicle is very highly occupied. All right? Everybody in my family wants to use my vehicle. But high occupancy vehicle originally was for a bus or a carpool where you're taking a bunch of people to work with you. Usually HOV allows 2 or more individuals. So it was interesting when I went to school in California and I went to UCLA, the traffic was so bad that I wanted to use the carpool lane. So I had this big Ernie doll and I put Ernie next to me. So it looked like I had a second person. And then I was driving in the carpool lane. Yeah. But that doesn't always work. And now that there's cameras and CCTV everywhere, yeah. So do you want the carpool lanes to stay or go? 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So it's interesting. In Las Vegas, they're actually doing a study. Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony, I like a lot, sits as vice chairman of the Nevada Transportation Board of Directors. And he has been on this effort to reevaluate using these HOV lanes, maybe getting rid of them so that it reduces congestion. Last year, the state initiated an environmental study on whether converting the HOV lanes to general purpose lanes would create any impacts. And so he said, we are continuing to do the study through the federal government to really tell the federal government that we do not need HOV lanes in Southern Nevada. Now, for those of you in California, you're probably like, wait a second, I really need that HOV lane. But we're talking about Nevada. See, Nevada, we have 3 different types of freeways. We got the I-15, we got the 95, and we got the 215. And there's a lot of memes where, the I-15 is where there's always gridlock. The 95 is where you have people, maybe getting, on a good day, they could get by. On a bad day, they're stuck in traffic. But the 215 is our racetrack. That's where it circles around. I get to access the 215. And the 215 for me is fantastic because I could just speed and it's really nice. So for me, I don't really have to have the carpool lanes. I'm fine. But if I'm traveling with my husband, I really like the carpool lane on the 95 or the I-15. But it only works if you have somebody to drive with you. I'm becoming less and less popular as I age. And so if I want to use that carpool lane, I really have to struggle to find somebody. And I don't believe it's legal to pick up a hitchhiker. So then why don't we decrease the congestion so you don't need the HOV lanes? According to Stavros Anthony, he says they are causing congestion. Nobody is calling their neighbor to drive in the HOV lane. Yeah, my neighbors won't drive with me because they've seen me drive. They won't get in a car with me. I've offered. Like, I'll drive you to the store. They're like, no, thank you. So Stavros Anthony says HOV lanes are useless. And he wants to tell the government this. So I'm asking you guys, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Should we keep the carpool lane or the HOV lane or no? 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-362-3254. The psychology of it is fascinating because when I do get out of a congested lane and I get a free lane, you actually start to speed. And I told you I had been driving I'm in California often. So my driving in California is very different from the driving in Nevada. Because if you at all get a break and you get a few hundred feet to yourself in a lane, you speed up. It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. And the way to get through a California commute is to continually be switching lanes, finding little pockets of drive to be able to speed up faster than 5 miles per hour or gridlock, and then weave in and out of traffic. And then if you do get an opportunity to get into an exit lane, utilize the exit lane and then get back in, right? Because you're just trying to get to the destination. For those of you who have never driven in Southern California, if you have to go someplace that is over 5 miles, you need to plan at least an hour commute. That's how bad it is. And so I am just trying to minimize that mileage so that the more space you get. And so then I roll into Vegas and I notice I have an open road. I need to take advantage of that. And I'm like, no, I don't have to take. There's a lot of open roads in Southern Nevada. I could relax, especially the 215. I do not have to speed. It's okay. I could slow it down. I'm going to have that lane. I'm not going to lose it. So, but we do have high congestive times. And the other thing, too, I notice is nobody follows the rules when it pertains to the double line. You know, if I'm in the carpool lane and I go, oh, crap, there's my exit, I get out of the carpool lane. The problem is you're not supposed to. You're supposed to wait till it's a dotted line and it's an interrupted white line. Well, if I have to get off on my exit, and that's a problem because I notice people from the carpool lane who are going faster are now zigzagging across traffic. It's actually more dangerous. So I think I would be in support of getting rid of the carpool lane, okay, with my high occupancy vehicle. I know a lot of you are wondering how many people have occupied my vehicle. We're going to keep it clean. Just me and the family. That's it. But, maybe the carpool lanes are a problem. So good for Stavros Anthony. I'll maybe get him on the show to talk about this. But for those of you that live in areas where you're really wondering why you're stuck in traffic bumper to bumper, there's this nice free lane, and the whole purpose was supposed to be for the environment, and people still aren't carpooling. You wonder if it's going to be better and safer to open it up and decrease congestion. 1-877-DOC-DALI.
Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here, and you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
Looking for a gift that can actually help secure someone's future? It's Mark Falter's new book, Common Sense Income Strategies. It makes the perfect gift for that special someone in your life. Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using time-tested strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. To learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Secure your future with Common Sense Income Strategies by Mark Falter. Again, to learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're grinding out bicep curls, or muscling the couch across the living room, crushing morning miles, or sprinting through back-to-back meetings, Smoothie King has fuel to help you maximize your workouts, own your recovery, and elevate your game. Give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs with a lineup of delicious smoothies made to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. We were speaking about and I need to stop saying I apologize. We were speaking about the HOV carpool lane really quickly. One last point I want to make. Daniel reminded me that in some cities, the HOV lane, can provide, although he's kind of in agreement with me, but one other thing to think about is the HOV lane sometimes is the only lane that offers emergency vehicle access. That is a good point. So if there are cities where it's really congested and your ambulance needs to get to Pomona, right, or get to Long Beach or wherever, you need to have that access. I live in Southern Nevada where our highways are really flat and the shoulders we have really broad shoulders on our freeways. So most of the time, I believe the ambulance can use that. But that is a good point. HOV lane. So that's something that I believe will be included in the study. I'll find out. It's interesting. The concept of pulling over to your right when an ambulance comes. I don't see cars do that. When I took driver's ed in high school, and then when I had to take my tests, guaranteed, there's going to be a question on what do you do if there's an emergency vehicle. You pull to the right and you stop. It's a very simple process and a very successful and effective one. Slower traffic to the right, so fast traffic can be on the left. And when you see an emergency vehicle, get the hell off the road, move to the side safely, and stop. Let the ambulance go, and then you could go and carry on your drive. But I don't see that. What I see is people still drive. And they'll say, look, it looks like the ambulance is going to be able to move to the left. He's not going to need my middle or right lane, so I could still drive. No. Now, I used to, just because of my medical background, I wanted to follow the ambulance. So as soon as the ambulance passed, I would go right behind it. I wanted to go and follow, do you guys need any help? Sort of thing. But let the ambulance be. They may have to hard brake Don't be following the ambulance. Don't think that you're not going to get a ticket. A lot of people think that they should drive in the tailwinds of an ambulance, right? Where you're going to get the extra speed, right? Just follow them. No cop is going to pull you over because there's an ambulance. He's not going to want to interfere with that left lane, especially since that left lane may have another ambulance or a fire engine or fire truck. No, don't do that. Now, I'm not perfect. I know, big shock. I was driving with my kid brother. I think I was 18 at the time. And it's nighttime, and I didn't hear an ambulance coming. And all of a sudden, I am looking through my rearview mirror, and I see an ambulance coming up on me. Now, I was young. I was only 18, and I froze. And I just slammed on my brakes in the middle of the street and hoped that the ambulance would get around me. And the funny thing is the next day on the radio, they said, people, do not stop in the middle of your lane. Move over to the right. The problem is that ambulance was coming up on me so fast that I thought if I was going to move, it would crash into me. That I didn't want to put an extra variable into this. There was no time for me to put my clicker or turn signal on. No. So I just stayed put. And then I heard this public service announcement, probably because of me, throughout the whole city. That was pretty flattering. But I've always been, I should know this as a physician, why, depending on where you are in your car or on the street, you could hear an ambulance or not. Now, I think I'm hard of hearing, but I could hear an ambulance if it's in front of me. But if it's coming from the left or coming from the right, it's very different if I could hear it or not. I sometimes can hear an ambulance before anybody else in my family could. Yeah, that's the mommy hearing. But in some instances, if the sound is coming from behind or something, I can't put my finger on it. I don't always hear an ambulance equally. And I know that has to do something with the sound waves and the amps and amplitude, and I should know this. I did my ENT at UCLA. I got trained pretty well, but I just have always been shocked at how I won't even notice an ambulance until you see the flashing lights, thank God. And I'll tell my husband, I'm like, there's an ambulance. He's like, where? Can't you hear it? Sometimes he hears it before I do. So that could be an argument to have a high occupancy vehicle so that somebody in the car listens. Now, adding insult to injury is your music. If I'm listening to some heavy rock, I'm not going to be I won't hear it. And I notice many people don't pull over probably because their music is too loud. And that's got to stink for first responders, let alone patients. So I'm wondering if maybe what cities need to do is have a network, let's say, of roads that emergency vehicles have access to, especially if you live in a very congested area like Minneapolis, LA, New York. New York, there's no way to, I'm surprised they even have room for sidewalks, to be honest. It's really congested over there. But, our system, in order to pick up somebody and bring them to a hospital, and we don't have a lot of hospitals. It seems like we have a lot of hospitals in Las Vegas, but when you look at the number of beds, now we are getting better in terms of having more ERs, and that's really what we can survive by if we have enough ERs and facilities and we need enough doctors and nurses and staff. But when I look at what these ambulances have to do, and their commute could be 20 minutes, that's scary. So maybe we need a better network. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think the freeway system was suggested by Dwight D. Eisenhower as shall we say, an opportunity for planes to have runways. This was post-World War II. So that if a plane had to do an emergency landing, there was always a network of where they could land, and freeways had to have a certain size specification. And that was a smart idea. I could be wrong in my recollection of the history of that. But I think also I'm a real big fan of not double dipping, repurposing. I am a big fan of having something that has multiple uses, where you could use a Kleenex not only to wipe your nose, you could use it as toilet paper and to stuff your bra. I love having multiple use things that can be, like my books. I could use my books to read from, or I could use it to elevate my laptop. It's just multiple use things, because if you're going to be putting money into a freeway system, wouldn't it be cool to also use that as an emergency ramp or emergency runway? So that's interesting. So my recommendation to you all is please lower the music in your cars. Be aware if there's an emergency vehicle. Pull to the side. I've had friends tell me if they see a cop, they're not going to pull to the side because it's going to make it easier for the cop to pull you over. You idiot. No, you're going to get pulled over if you don't move to the side. You have to move to the side. But being devil's advocate, and I'm not defending them, I have seen cops pull multiple people over. And so you think they're only pulling over one person. If you make yourself easy access, they will give you a hand signal and say, stay. And I've seen cops pull over 3 people at once. You all stay, and I'm going to give you all tickets. So I see the incentive to not be a sitting duck and just keep going or playing dumb and letting the car that gets pulled over be pulled over. But that's always a tricky thing. When I see somebody pulled over and I see lights, are they pulling me over? If they're pulling somebody over for speeding, does that mean I have to stop, get out of the left lane and go all the way to the right lane? Well, what I do is I slow down and I start putting on my clicker, turn signal, to make it look like I am trying to move over and follow the law. By the time I make my attempt and the cop has pulled the other person over, I just keep going. Whew. I got to tell you, it's tricky. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. Funny thing about being fast, you end up waiting a lot. First to show up, first in line, then just waiting. Me, I rev up Chumba Casino. With over 200 social casino games, no slow lanes here. Why sit around when you can spin? I'm already racing. Your turn. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So one thing I like about the summer is I eat more fruits and vegetables. I really do. In the winter, it's about comfort food and mac and cheese and biscuits and arroz con pollo and all sorts of other things that I like to go to for comfort food. But I eat so much healthier in the summer. And I try to give you guys tips, but you all know I'm horrible when it comes to cooking and food preparation. But luckily, my next guest is awesome at it. And we have a fresh wave of wellness trends that are now circulating this summer into our summer routines. And many of these are pretty flavorful. So joining us with tips to boost vitality this season is author of the Clean Vegan Cookbook, Jackie Ackerberg. She is a member of the Bragg Wellness Council and is here to spotlight easy wellness upgrades, including seasonal summer mocktails. Yum! That deliver on taste and function. Oh, yeah. Welcome, Jackie Ackerberg. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Wow. So we have a lot at our fingertips in terms of our nutrition. Talk to us about choosing the right ingredients.
Well, choosing the right ingredients for good nutrition starts by choosing high-quality, real ingredients that support energy, digestion, immunity. And over, 70% of consumers say that they're more likely to stick with this type of wellness routine if the food they're eating actually tastes good. And that's why I love brands like Bragg. They combine both flavor and function to help you look and feel your best and easily achieve these long-term health goals with food that tastes good.
Now, you have a cookbook for teaching us. I hear from patients all the time that listeners, they want to become more vegan. But as you said, how do they make it taste good? How do they get their families on board? It's an art. Talk to us about your book.
Yeah, and really what I like to think about when I'm creating a recipe or thinking about my meal for the week or my menu for the week is using real ingredients. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You don't have to buy all of these new hype products in the market. If you stick to the basics, eat real food, and use some, core seasonings and things to add flavor, like apple cider vinegar from Bragg, you're going to have success.
I love that you brought up apple cider vinegar. There's a lot of health applications. Talk to us about some of the benefits of apple cider vinegar.
Well, there really are. And Bragg's apple cider vinegar, or ACV, it's trusted for its raw, organic, naturally fermented and unfiltered formula. And it also features the mother, which provides strands of enzymes, beneficial bacteria, and it contains 750 milligrams of acetic acid. This helps support metabolic function and maintain healthy blood glucose levels. So there's a lot of benefits here.
So what tips do you have to make it more palatable?
I'm glad you asked, because the OG ACV definitely isn't for everyone. It has a very bold, very strong taste, and that's why Bragg actually created their flavorful ACV blends. They have a bunch of different flavors that are very enjoyable. There's cranberry apple, honey cayenne, citrus ginger, and a brand new flavor. You're one of the first to hear about it. It's called pineapple turmeric. It's packed with all the same benefits as the original, but it's way easier to enjoy. Think things like smoothies, popsicles, mocktails, marinades, salad dressings. It's just chef's kiss.
That's amazing. Exactly. And marinades, that's a very smart move too. You can marinate vegetables. You can marinate a lot of things. And that's a way to get those extra nutrients in. That was very, very smart. We're talking to Jackie Ackerberg, author of the Clean Vegan Cookbook and member of the Bragg Wellness Council. So there's a lot of wellness trends that we're seeing that can help us reset some of our routines. Yeah. Talk to us about some of the trends that you're seeing.
Absolutely. And honestly, if you've been on any platform lately, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, anywhere, your feed is likely flooded with trends. And it can truly be hard to see through the noise. And I always recommend looking at the source, trusting brands such as Bragg, who have been leaders in the wellness industry for over 100 years. And one summer trend I'm personally loving are mocktails. They're super fun, refreshing, and they're a guilt-free upgrade to your typical drink. And they're gaining popularity because more and more people are cutting back on alcohol or skipping it altogether. And Bragg ACV blends, like the pineapple turmeric we were talking about, make it super easy to add a bold and delicious flavor to your summer sip. There's one I've been sipping on repeat all summer and serving to all my friends, and it's a combination of muddled strawberries and mint, a splash of lemon, a full serving of the Bragg apple cider vinegar pineapple turmeric blend, and then all topped off with sparkling water. And it is just, oh my God, it's so flavorful, refreshing, delicious. It's just perfect for summer.
Yeah, and turmeric has definitely been in the news a lot in terms of its health benefits. Talk to us about what you're noticing people are using it for.
Absolutely. And, this blend, it has pineapple and turmeric, and these are two ingredients I reach for in my kitchen often. Pineapple is, some people don't know this, but it's great for digestion. And then turmeric is an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. So the two together are amazing. And beyond their wellness perks, the pineapple is so bright and refreshing, and the turmeric is incredibly warm and earthy. And both together perfectly balance the ACV. And when you combine all three of their health benefits, it becomes a delicious and functional trifecta.
I love it. I love it. Where can my listeners go for more information?
For more recipes, ideas, and wellness tips, you can head to bragg.com.
Oh, I love it. Jackie Ackerberg, can't wait to have you back. This was so helpful. Thank you again so much.
Thank you. Yes, have a great day. Thanks for having me.
You too. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So it's interesting. Apple cider vinegar we hear a lot about, and this is something that I should incorporate it more into my diet. Basically, it's a vinegar that is made from fermented apples, yeast, sugar. It's a cider. It's an apple cider vinegar, and it is from apples. And we see it a lot in many of the foods we use, whether it's salad dressings and marinades and pickles. And so there's been a lot of discussion of health benefits. The problem is it's been a little tricky in terms of seeing evidence very consistent. So, for example, many people have asked me if they could use apple cider vinegar to treat their gallstones. I have not had many patients successful with apple cider vinegar and gallstones. If you have something as complicated as gallstones and your gallbladder not actively functioning well, you really need to see the specialist and talk to them if it's worth the apple cider vinegar being a part of your routine, or if you need to have your gallbladder removed or treated. But seeing that there's nutrients, antioxidants, polyphenols, I really do believe that there's health benefits. And apple cider vinegar has been used to reduce sugar levels, aid in weight loss, and it's made through fermentation. They crush the apples and they add the yeast to speed up the fermentation process. So for some people, they can actually find improved GI metabolic health. For other people, it might irritate their GI system, so you want to definitely talk to your medical provider about that as well. But there's sometimes some of the apple cider vinegars may have some probiotics in it, but we're thinking that there's a lot more to it than we know. It's very difficult to study a lot of these non-pharmaceuticals when you don't have pharmaceutical companies putting money behind the study. And so I keep getting asked, why aren't we looking at this compound? Why aren't we looking at this? Like, for example, marijuana. We are starting to study marijuana a lot more. But if you don't have somebody putting the money behind the study, it doesn't get studied. A lot of our pharmaceutical data and cardiac data has been funded by pharmaceutical companies trying to get data for the FDA. And so as something like apple cider vinegar, I wish we had more studies on. And in terms of vegan diets, I'm a fan. I have trouble being vegan or vegetarian. Vegetarian's a little easier than vegan because I do like meat. I like red meat. And part of the reason is I'm trying to cut back on my carbs. But incorporate more vegan dishes into your diet. I think it could only help. 1-877-DOC-DALI. Don't go away.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by financial fitness show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So let's go to some of your emails and messages. Brian writes, Doc, none of my children or friends' children go to church anymore, despite all being raised Catholic. How do you suggest to your adult kids to embrace faith more than they should? So you're not the first person to ask. This is very common. We are seeing in the younger generations, their attitude towards church and religion much different than when older generations grew up. For me, I'm Gen X. And I was raised, if you didn't follow your religion, a lightning bolt would hit you. Yeah, so there was a lot of fear. The younger generations are bucking a lot of traditions. They are much more scientific in their thinking. They question the existence of God more than Gen X's and baby boomers and older generations. And also a big part of that is society. And so in the olden days, you didn't have Netflix, TV, all the entertainment you had. Most of your entertainment and community and friend group was through your church. And so you would have socials, you would have mass, or you would have or in Judaism, you would go to synagogue, and then you would meet up afterwards, or you would have Shabbat dinner. And so much of the entertainment and the celebratory part, as well as the religion was very entrenched in the life and in your day-to-day practices. And I notice that many younger individuals don't feel community in their churches or temples or mosques. They don't need to go to church to make friends, to be with friends, to find a spouse. And if they don't feel they have that need, they're not going to donate. They're not going to sign up, and they're going to use what they're more comfortable with, the online options. Also, COVID really hurt church and temple and mosque attendance. Once governors, and the governor in my state was Sisolak at the time, and we had the High Holy Days coming up, and our rabbi was saying, why can't you let people come to the synagogue to pray? And apparently they opened up churches and synagogues right after the High Holidays and High Holy Days. And that, that was, a kind of a slap in the face to, many people who, are people of faith. And once people saw, wait a second, I could just pray online. I could watch Mass online. I could watch the service online. I'm getting my prayer in that way. But you're missing communion. Now you're missing a lot when you're not in the church or in the temple. And so the question Brian has is, how do you talk to your kids about embracing faith? And my children are less religious than me in some respect. They're more religious in other respects. And the first thing I've done with my children is I've explained to them what I have personally lived through. And I tell them, your religion is going to be very personal. No two Jews, no two Catholics, no two Christians worship the exact same, because your relationship with God is unique. And if you do have a Judeo-Christian home or a Judeo-Catholic home or a Judeo-LDS home, you're going to be combining aspects of both faith, and they're beautiful. Our faith is not the only one. Our faith is not the right one. I know they say Jews are the chosen people, but God chose, I believe, all of us. That's why we're all here. God did not like the Amalekites, the Philistines, the Hittites. They're all gone. But he loves Jews, Christians, Catholics, Mormons, Muslims. We're here. We're here for a reason. And to embrace religion doesn't necessarily mean, to me, I told him, that you have to follow every single law. But to me, don't be cocky. Don't think that the reason why you're here on earth is because of just a couple atoms exploding. Now, God, I believe, played a role, because both of you would have died if it wasn't for prayer and God superseding. And I explained to them what I've seen and what I've witnessed and what I believed. You don't have to believe it. You're going to get your own signs later, and you might never get a sign. But one thing I know is praying makes me feel better. And whenever I go through any sort of issue in life, I pray for strength. I don't pray for God to fix the situation. I pray for strength. And that has helped me time and time again. Whether you need to see it statistically or at a macro or micro level, that's between you and God. But for me, this is why I have faith. And I noticed that they are spiritual and they do embrace faith. And one of my sons may be marrying the love of his life, who's Catholic, and I love her. And I'm really excited because we're going to have a Jewish Catholic home. It's very exciting, especially since we have other Catholics in the family. And the love of faith in God, was interesting because both of them had said, I really couldn't be with somebody who didn't believe in God. And that was good for them. And that worked out for them. But, when you have family members who are doubting, and that does happen, God understands that there's doubt. In science, we always have doubt. I know the Biden administration didn't let us doubt some of the data on the vaccines and the dirty masks people were wearing. But in science, you are allowed to have hypotheses, test, question, doubt, reconfirm. So if you do have scientific thinking individuals, you are allowed to, what science can't explain is that God. And let them, when this happened to you, do you have a scientific explanation for it, or do you think God intervened? There's no right answer or wrong answer, but look at what's going on in your life. And then the thing I finally say is it can't hurt. To pray to God can't hurt. To me, if I didn't, I think, well, that could be a problem. Because again, I grew up with more fear in terms of religion. But does it hurt? Thank God. Pray before a trip that it'll be safe. Thank the Lord before you eat. Thank the Lord before you go to sleep. And that it's okay to not follow a religion to its upteenth percent of accuracy and loss. That's what overwhelmed me. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to follow all the laws. That's impossible. And then you feel like, well, then I'm done for. No. Be a good person. Do good things. Even if you don't pray. Work with charities. Volunteer. Be kind. You could pray and think things in your mind, but God looks at actions. And ask them, when you do something good, how does that make you feel? That makes you feel good. Well, then fine. Just make sure you always incorporate something good in each part of your day. Do good for others. Do good for nature. If you see a little ant or bug, don't necessarily step and kill it if you don't have to. If it's a spider, absolutely, get the blowtorch. Okay, I don't like spiders. I get that. Or if something that's going to attack you. But if you see a bee, don't bug the bee. Let the bee go on. Have a respect for life, nature, and it'll reward you. Comes full circle. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Hey, America. How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep twice a month, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.